How can you tell the difference between a rich Viking and a poor Viking? In this video I am going to walk you through the main differences between how rich people and common people would dress during the Viking Age. And the differences that apply to the women's wardrobe, which is what I'm going to show you today, are also applicable to the men's wardrobe, of course. One of the most obvious differences between a rich person's and a poor person's outfit during the Viking Age would be the colors. Since all the colors of the fabric were obtained through plant dyeing during the Viking Age, it was very expensive and rich people would wear vibrant, strong colors. While a poor or average person would wear mostly undyed brown wools or perhaps some muted colors where you wouldn't need as much of the pigment while plant dyeing. The plant dyeing pigments were hard to come by and therefore fairly expensive, and that's why they're mostly used by the wealthy. White wools would also probably mostly be reserved for the wealthy, because if you want to dye very bright colors you need white wool for the base. So therefore white fabrics would be reserved for plant dyeing and then sold to the wealthy. The second difference would be the quality of the fabrics. During the Viking Age, all fabrics were hand-spun and hand-woven. The finer a fabric you want to make, the thinner the thread you need, and also the more thread you're going to need, which takes a lot of time. So spinning a lot of thread and then weaving very fine and thin fabrics would take a very long time, which would make them expensive. A poor person would probably spin most of their thread by themselves and weave their own fabrics. And since poor people did much more manual labor and spent a lot of time outside, they were in need of thicker, sturdier fabrics that could stand the wear and tear and also keep them warmer. There were a few luxury details that rich people would add to their garments. One of them was silk, woven in colorful patterns, and the silk was imported from the East, maybe sometimes as far away as Constantinople or China. There were also intricately woven, tablet woven bands with a thread of gold or silver in the weft. And there was also posament, which was a kind of decorative knotwork made from a metallic thread wrapped around a silk thread. As far as we know, the apron dress, like this one, is something that would be considered formal wear during the Viking Age, which means that the wealthy would be the ones to wear it. Now, if you were living in Gotland, you might be wearing a peplos instead. Average women would stick to long-sleeve dresses. Now, if you were a wealthy person during the Viking Age, you would make sure to get yourself some really nice jewelry. The more, the better. If you were a woman, you would probably like to have a pair of oval brooches like these that kept your apron dress up. You could also wear some sort of brooch in the neckline to keep your dress closed, or a brooch to keep your shawl or your coat closed. You could also wear beads of different kinds. They could be made from glass, amber, rock crystal, and there are also some examples of metallic pendants as well. If you were a wealthy man, you could get yourself a nice penannual brooch to keep your cloak on your shoulder. You could also get yourself a nice decorative belt buckle or a belt bag with some really nice metallic decorations on it. Or you could get yourself some nice hooks for your leg wraps. If you were a poor person, you would probably not be able to afford any jewelry whatsoever. If you were an average person, you might be able to afford some jewelry. If you were a woman, you might wear a few beads around your neck, or you could have like a small brooch of some kind, or maybe a needle case of bone instead of metal. If you were a man, you might wear a simple penannual brooch made of iron instead of silver, or you could use braids or tablet woven bands for your leg wraps instead of hooks to fasten them, but you would probably not wear a lot of jewelry. I hope I have been able to give you some sort of overview on what differentiates a rich person's versus a poor person's outfit during the Viking Age. And of course there will always be nuances depending on how wealthy or how poor you were, and also it would be different depending on where you lived. So, for instance, if you lived at Gotland, you would probably dress a bit different, but that's a topic for another video, I think. Thank you so much for listening, and if you have any questions regarding what I have been talking about today, please just let me know. And if you have any requests for something you would like me to talk about in the future, send me a comment and I'll do my best to accommodate every wish. Thank you so much, take care, bye bye!